they thought, maybe not such a good idea, and they went to Switzerland. The boys were happy, they were playing in the snow, it was all very good. But Escher missed Italy, especially Rome, very, very terribly. It was not the same source of inspiration. So from that moment on, he said, I started to concentrate more and more on inner visions, and that is where his strange and magical world is born, inner visions. Lovely. This one is David Armitage, that is on the show, because it is also the world of M.C. Escher.
je er bent. Ga je meedoen? Kom. Ja, in Rotterdam houden we van demonstraties, hè. Want er zijn zoveel dingen waar we tegen zijn. Dus kom op, dan gaan we olé, 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 olé.
Staat hier lekker hondjes te schieten? Kom met de slingeren dan. Slingeren met poetsen.
Hi schat, ik was even druk bezig met mijn badkamertje sop hoor. Je kent het gezegd in Rotterdam hè, niet lullen maar poetsen. Oh, hier ligt mijn glitter sponsie. Kom eraan.
Hey, kom gauw mee, want ik heb superveel inspiratie. Ik hou van kleur, zoals je wel kunt zien in mijn werk. De kleur is in Rotterdam overal te vinden, zoals bijvoorbeeld op het plafond van de Markthal, maar ook in musea en natuurlijk de graffiti op de muren. Maar vergeet niet, inspiratie is overal te vinden, dus hou je ogen open.
English.
So there's currently a show going on.
Yes.
It is in Dutch, so maybe it's a bit difficult for you to follow.
Who do we have here? Reinforcements. Are these my new soldiers? People, these are exciting times for this beautiful city. In 1625, the first pioneers from the Netherlands stepped ashore here. There was nothing at all. They inhabited the wilderness here. From that wilderness, a city is made. On the banks of the River Eye lies Amsterdam, the most beautiful and richest city in the world. And on the other side of the world, this is where the Dutch laid the first stone of a new city, a new Amsterdam. With blood, sweat and tears, we build a new city at this very place. Not a cursed fortress, but a city where people from all over the world anchor, unite and work hard for their future, day and night. Because this is a city that never sleeps.
Walk in here and lay the whole city to ashes.
But here on shore, we do not have an army here to defend ourselves.
Where's your pistol?
No pistols, no weapons. If you want to keep the city alive, we must not shoot at all.
We will still live here.
Even if the English will come, we will still live here.
There's only the one thing, surrender.
What are you planning? Are you coming to plunder and burn down, attacking with such superior numbers? You leave us no other choice. We will need to defend ourselves.
To men speak English. Load the cannons.
This city must not be lost. New Amsterdam must be preserved, if need be in the hands of the English. We preserve the city and hand her over intact. This city has a golden future. And if the English intend to name her after the Duke of York, then so be it. This city is built with building blocks from the Netherlands. We are this city, and we will stay here forever. Wallstraat is still a nice place to trade. And the Brede with its inns will stay fully packed. And the Daalder will always allow you to pay. Berkeley, across the East River, will stay. And Konijn Island remains a pleasant place on the coast. And we just eat the same cookies, the same parfaits. And what about Vlissingen? Holland will stay.
On the 8th of September 1664, Peter Stuyvesant handed New Amsterdam over to the English. The English keep the Dutch freedom intact, and the Dutch pioneers continue to inhabit the city. Their ideals ensure the character of the city to the present day. It is the Dutch that lay the foundation for the success of the city of cities, New York. The free Dutch in the 17th century sailed the world's oceans with a fleet of 20,000 vessels, attracted by the unknown, in search of unexplored areas and new opportunities. The curiosity, the open mind, and courage of the Dutch ancestors are in their blood. Dare to step into the unknown, seize new opportunities, and set sail for new horizons.
We're running for steam power! Our king has built the biggest steam engines ever seen in the world. The Leiden, the Leegwater, and here, the Grootbiers. With these iron giants, we're ready to drain the Harlem Lake completely. He's back!
Fire! This pumping station will drain the Harlem Lake completely, but it won't start pumping by itself. I need every man available to get this fellow steaming. Find a spot at one of the stations, and let's go! Stop turning those blues, everyone.
Dutch experts reclaim land and protect it from the ever-threatening water. Our past, our present, and our future are inextricably linked together.
wat we